how to pick your team. I picked Ryan. Hi, and welcome to the Guide to Being an Entrepreneur. Today we're going to talk about teams and how to pick your partners. The first thing you want to think about is never doing it alone. You want to have partners. You want to have at least one or two partners with you at all times. It's a lot better to VCs and other investors. They want to know that not only that other people like your idea and believe in your idea, but that you have ideas, you have people to bounce your ideas off of and talk to through your project. When you do pick your partners, make sure they have complementary skills. You want to have someone that's not exactly like you, but they have different strengths than you. Have different perspectives. You want someone that has a different perspective than you. You don't want to have your central group that believes in all the same thing, because that's not realistic. That's not representative of the market. You want to have someone that likes certain things and doesn't like certain things that vary from yours, because that'll give you a better idea of what people really like and what people don't like. You want to have an aligned mission. When you pick your partners, make sure that you're on the same page and you have an aligned mission so that you can go in the same direction. You want to get along with them. That's a big part, and a lot of people don't think about too much. You want to have someone that you get along with and that you know you can work well with. In an example that we saw this year, Knox Payments, there was two founders and then someone very closely tied to the founders that all worked together in Knox Payments. They had somewhat of a founder fight, and there was a huge rift in the company because one of the founders withheld information from the other two people in the company, and the company is going through a really tough time right now because of the founder fight and because they don't get along really well. So make sure when you pick your partners, you get along with them really well. When you do pick your partners, think about legal boundaries. It's kind of hard to think about when you're just starting a project, but there's a lot of online paperwork and things you can just print out and sign and say, here I sign for 49% and my partner signs for 51%. And you can work with a lot of different things. You can talk about investing equity and different ways to go about the equity and sharing things, sharing parts of the company. But make sure you get that done sooner rather than later, because it becomes a problem, as you saw in movies like The Social Network. So take care of that right away. Another thing that you want to think about when you're picking partners is you want someone that can communicate really well. If they have a problem or an issue, or they found something, or they talk to other people, you need to know that they're going to tell you, yes, I talked to this person, oh, I found this problem, oh, I worked on this problem. Make sure that they communicate really well and they share their ideas with you. Make sure they're trustworthy. You don't want someone that's going to take your idea or your company and try to turn it against you. You want a friend. You want someone that can go out there and you can trust to be there for you and grow the company like you're growing. When you are picking partners, it's an important quality to have someone that can sell. No matter what product or service it is, you want someone that can sell. Selling your product or service, or having a salesman on board when you're pitching to VCs or pitching an elevator pitch, that's really important to have that salesman on board, because it's that much easier to go about selling your product. The most successful founders are driven by impact rather than experience and money. So remember that. That came from the Genome Startup Report, where they interviewed a bunch of startups and did research on them, and that was one of the things they found. They also found balanced teams with one technical founder and one business founder raise 30% more money, have 2.9 times more user growth, and are 19% less likely to scale prematurely than technical or business-heavy founding teams. So keep that in mind when you're forming your team. Also, solo founders take 3.6 times longer to reach scale stage compared to a founding team of two, and they are 2.3 times less likely to pivot. So I'll talk about pivot in a later section, but pivoting is just the pivot from the vision to validation stage, which is really important in the startup business. You don't want to take too long to scale, because the sooner you scale, the sooner you get to different stages of your company, and you can make money that much faster. Also, business-heavy founding teams are 6.2 times more likely to successfully scale with sales-driven startups than with product-centric startups. So think about that when you're talking about your product. You don't want to have product-centric startups. You want to have something like a business-heavy founding teams. So think about that when you're starting your team. Technical, on the other hand, technical-heavy founding teams are 3.3 times more likely to successfully scale with product-centric startups with no network effects than with product-centric startups that have network effects. So think about all these things that I've talked about Those statistics are also from the Genome Startup Report. When you pick your team, think about all those things I just mentioned and make sure that you have a team that you can trust and work with well. Thank you, and that wraps up today's segment. We'll see you next time.